some manga here today that I'm going to be unboxing. I have a little bit of manga that I've gotten over the past week or two, as well as a little bit of merch. But these 3 packages on top are all from Barnes & Noble, and then this is all Japanese manga and magazines. And I'm really excited about some of the stuff in here. There is a very dubious, oily handprint on the side of this box, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open all of this stuff and pull all the books out, and then take this out of the room and make sure everything is clean and get everything cleaned up, and then I'll just go through all the manga. Okay, I got everything out of the packages and unwrapped, and I'm planning to go through all of the English manga before getting into all of the Japanese stuff because there is a mix, as well as the merch that I have off screen. But before I get into the English manga, I'm going to go through a couple of my highlight items that I'm so excited about, and those are all items from Love of Kill. So I got volume 14. I'm so excited. I'm so happy to have this now. So maybe you're thinking, volume 14, but volume 13 was the final volume. And yes, the volume 13 was the end of the main series of Love of Kill. It even said final on it. But then it says on here, volume 14, after the file. And it's a bonus volume of side stories, or just the story continuing past the ending of volume 13. But with this volume of Love of Kill, the series is at an end now. This was the final volume. And I'm not sure yet if Yen Press is gonna translate and print this for us in English. I really hope they do, but I know publishers will sometimes not print the volumes after the main story if they're considered extra content. But I'm feeling hopeful because the volume is numbered that we will get it. But even if they do pick it up for an English release, and I will buy it, I wanted to get this one right away so that I could just read it. I do own the Comic Gene issue that has the first chapter of this volume, so I have read the first chapter, but I just really want to read the whole story. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love this cover. Rangha looks majestic, and it's kind of funny. I took the dust jacket off, and it revealed, just like in English, usually the inside of the front cover and the inside of the back cover will have a little behind the scenes of how they staged the cover illustration. So here we see Jim directing birds, and then on the back cover, he has a fan blowing their feathers through the window toward Ranghan Chateau, as a result, causing this gorgeous breeze with feathers as they look out the window. But also we have a color illustration here. This is one of the Comic Gene cover illustrations, so really happy to see that, as well as that same Comic Gene issue. The color pages inside are the color spread in this volume. I love it. Domestic Rangha. But I won't flip through it at all because it will be spoiler content, but I am just thrilled to have this, and I'm so excited to read it. And then something else that came with this volume, I thought this was just a little ad pamphlet, and then when I saw it, I thought it was just a little bonus comic or something, but it really is like a full several pages of an extra like mini chapter for Love of Kill. So I'm excited to look at this once I get through the series. His face. He is cranky. So Love of Kill Volume 14. I'm so happy. One other thing with Volume 14 though, I noticed that it didn't come with a bromide print card. So every other volume of Love of Kill came with a square color bromide print. And this one didn't, so I really hope that I didn't just miss out on it and there is one out there, but I haven't seen any images of one online, so I'll just keep an eye out and make sure that if I just didn't get one with my order that I can secure a copy of it. And then 2 more Love of Kill items. So this 2018 issue of Comic Gene. So I do collect the Comic Gene issues that have Love of Kill covers and spines too. I was shocked when I pulled this out of the box. It is so thick. This is thicker than all of the other Comic Gene issues that I have. So I don't know if the older issues used to be thicker and now they've slimmed down a bit. But now that I have this one, March 2018, I'm only missing one more now. So I think it's the June 2020 Comic Gene issue. So I'll be on the lookout for that one. But I'm really happy I found this one secondhand and picked it right up. I had been watching for listings for the past year, waiting for one to pop up. And so when this one did, I just snatched it right up. And I'm really happy. It's in pretty good condition. And this issue came with a drama CD, and here it is. It's included. They didn't take it out. So the first thing I checked when I opened it was I just kind of felt it to see if it felt like the CD was okay. So I won't know until I cut it out, but I really hope that the disc inside is okay and didn't crack or anything. And then in addition to the Love of Kill chapter that's serialized in this issue, there's a little color spread. So this is in the art book, but it's kind of cool to see it like in the wild in the actual magazine issue. So I'm really happy to have this one and just one more to go now that I'm hunting down. And then one more magazine to go before I get into the manga, and it is the latest issue of Comic Gene, so the March 2024 issue. And Love of Kill is not on the cover or on the spine or on the back cover. But the reason I got this is because this is the issue that has the final chapter of the series finale. So I really wanted to get it. And there is a little tiny Love of Kill illustration here. And then on the back as well. But then, in addition to the final chapter being in here, there's also a color page. Sensei tweeted this illustration on their Twitter, and I was thinking this could be the color illustration in the volume. So I almost didn't get this magazine issue, but then I'm so glad I did because it's not in the volume. But then it's just so precious. And also in the front of the magazine issue is this little ad for, it looks like it's a Kuji because there are different letters assigned to the prizes. So that's pretty cool. I'm gonna try to get more information about it because there are a couple of merch items here that I would love to get, like this one here, the standee of Rangha. And this looks like it's a print set. Ooh, I haven't seen this illustration before. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this. So another magazine issue. And then with the issue came this clear file with characters from Sasuke Tomiyano. All right, so now I will just scoot this aside. And go through the manga now. And as I said earlier, there are some new releases in here, mostly new releases, and then a couple of older volumes that I've been trying to get a hold of. But first, I have this Shoujo series, Tsubaki-chou Lonely Planet Volume 6. This gorgeous cover illustration here of Akatsuki Sensei. I love this series. I'm so glad. I say this with every new release that I'm just so glad that this got an English print release. But this is the mangaka that I really like, Miki Yamamori. And this is my favorite series by her. It follows a high school girl and a historical novelist who start to cohabitate because of her father leaving the area for work so that he can pay off their family's debts. And the girl, Fumi, takes work as a live-in housekeeper for him. This one is completed in Japan already, so I'm really excited as every volume releases to get closer to having this series completed in my collection. I have been reading the volumes as they've been releasing, but volume 5 I didn't read yet, so I'm going to probably reread volume 4 again and then 5 and 6 pretty soon because I really love this story. And then next, another shoujo series, Dengeki Daisy Volume 11. So this is a series I started collecting last year. When I made my first order, about half of the volumes were in stock at retailers and half were out of stock out of 16 volumes. So since I got those volumes last year, I've just been slowly trying to find used copies of the volumes that I'm missing, and I'm always really happy when I find one. So I got volume 11. And I think now with this one, I'm missing 4 volumes. But I'll have to check my spreadsheet and see which ones I'm missing now. But I really like this series. It has romance, comedy, action, mystery, suspense, tragedy. When I read this series last year, it just put me through every emotion as I was reading it. But it follows this girl who, in the first chapter, when we meet her, her brother has just died and left behind a phone with a phone number in it of someone who would take his place as someone to give her encouragement and support. And then it turns out she really needs that support and to rely on this person because of all of the next things that she starts to go through in her life. But I really like this series. Really happy that I found another volume. And I'm really excited to do a reread of this series, but I'm trying to just wait until I have all the volumes so that I can do a straight read through from my physicals. Okay, and the next series, Chronicles Volume 10. I was thrilled when I found this volume at a reasonable price. So Chronicles is another series that is heavily out of stock, and in fact, Volume 10 is out of print. So this is the volume that is not even listed on retailers anymore, whereas the other ones are listed but marked as out of stock. So I'm really happy that I found this one. All the copies that I had seen of this as I had been watching for them had been ex-library copies and in really bad condition and really expensive. So to find one that was not a library copy, in good condition, and at a reasonable price, I was thrilled. But Chronicles is another shoujo series, and it follows a young girl starting in Volume 1, where she goes through a very traumatic experience, and as the series goes, she gets into high school and then into adulthood, and it just follows her and shows how this trauma from when she was young just has a strong impact on all of her decision-making and choices that she makes through her whole life, and really focuses on her mental health struggle. But I read this series 2 years ago, and back then too, this series was heavily out of stock, and I was going to wait to collect it until there was possibly a reprint. So I was just waiting and waiting, but then in January, I saw the news that the mangaka passed away, so I wanted to just go ahead and start searching for secondhand listings to go ahead and collect this series, because it is one that I enjoyed reading, and I wanted to have something from this mangaka in my collection. The next series is Something's Wrong With Us, Volume 19. So I'll pause for a second if you want to skip ahead. I have timestamps down below. This volume does have a spoiler cover. I am going to have it covered though, but just in case. But volume is Something's Wrong With Us, Volume 19. So the main series of Something's Wrong With Us ended with Volume 16, and then there were 3 volumes of side stories, 17, 18, and 19. So this is the finale of the series. And I'm so excited to read it. I'm going to reread probably the last 2 volumes of the main series and then read through the final 3 volumes this month sometime. But this series is a very, very dramatic romance. Lots of drama. It is set in the modern day, even though the characters wear traditional Japanese clothing. But it follows 2 wagashi makers that re-encounter in their 20s after a really messy parting when they were younger. But I really love this series. I'm really looking forward to reading through those volumes because I haven't read 17 and 18 yet. I've been waiting so I could binge read them. Unfortunately, I'm so disappointed with the spine. So the entire series, every spine has been red until the last 2 volumes, 17 and 18, were like dark purple or dark pink and then like a medium pink. But then those pinks still kind of matched the red spines of volumes 1 to 16. And now the final volume, volume 19, is blue. Why? I'm so disappointed about that design choice. I understand that the cover is predominantly blue and is very pale, but like there's orange. I was really hoping that the spine would be orange because then it would at least match the other spines. So I'm really disappointed about this because of how it's going to look on my shelves. I know to some people it doesn't matter and they don't care, but I really like my shelves to be as aesthetically pleasing as possible because they are part of my decor in my home and I stare at my manga shelves every day. But oh well, it is what it is. But volume 19, Something's Wrong with Us. Highly recommend this series if you want to see a romance that is filled with drama and mystery. The next series is A Business Proposal, Volume 4. I've just been collecting this series as the volumes have been releasing. I haven't been reading any of the volumes because I did just read this series about a year ago digitally, and I'm going to wait until there are more volumes so I can do a binge read through. But this is a workplace romance. This is my favorite character in the series. He's so good looking. I was just flipping through to find a panel that I could share, but I don't know. They're all kind of spoilery, so I just will not show the inside. But this is a full color manhwa, and it's really funny. There's a lot of good comedy, a lot of really kind of cheesy comedy as well, but I really enjoy it. There is one character that I don't really like in this series, and so I'm curious how I'm gonna feel about them when I do my read through. But the premise is basically that there is a girl who goes to a marriage meeting in place of her friend who doesn't want to go to it, with the intention of turning down the person at the meeting. And it turns out to be this guy who is the CEO of that girl's company. So from there is drama that ensues. The main girl is a little airheaded sometimes, so some of the decisions that she makes just complicate things further. But it's a really fun read. It is complete, I think, at 10 volumes, so the release pace has been pretty good. Almost halfway there. The next volume is Therapy Game Restart Volume 3. And I read this right away as soon as I got it. I do enjoy this series quite a bit. Therapy Game and Therapy Game Restart. Volume 4 is supposed to release in a couple months, I think in June. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. I was hoping that this volume would have a lot of sweet content, but it had a lot of angst. Not really drama, just angst, and it made me feel really anxious when I was reading parts of it just because of hoping that everything would be okay. But as you can see here, it's rated 18 plus for mature content. But I really enjoyed this read. So the kind of prequel one-shot before Therapy Game follows these two. And then Therapy Game follows these two characters and their relationship. They're both in their mid-20s, and one works as a photographer and one just finished schooling to become a vet. So like I said, really looking forward to Volume 4 so that I can continue in this series. Next is another mature rated series, Love Nest Second, Volume 2. So this is the final volume in this section of the series. So this series has several different parts with different titles. So there's a one-shot sayonara game, a 2-volume series Change World, a 2-volume series Love Nest, and then a 2-volume series Love Nest Second. And then following this volume, there are 2 volumes that are going to be coming out for another series called Engage that will continue the story with other characters from this universe. And I think that one is ongoing. I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but I'm thinking I might wait until Engage Volume 1 is going to be coming out and then do a full read-through of all of these volumes so that I could then read right into the new series when it's released. But as far as this volume specifically, this is continuing the story with these 2. So the 4th volume that focuses on these 2 and where their relationship is as they've been cohabitating, initially because of just being roommates to save on rent, and then as they bonded, actually wanting to continue living together. So, Love Nest Second. And then another new release, The Dangerous Convenience Store, Volume 2. And this one is another manhwa series, so it is in full color. But it is another one that is rated mature. But this one follows this man who is a gangster with a really rough demeanor. And then this guy here who is a college student who works at a dangerous convenience store. And it's called that because the convenience store that he works at is frequented by gang members. But looking forward to reading this one. I did just get the 3rd box set of this series in, I believe, my last haul video from my first order from Korea. That had volumes 5 and 6, so I believe the series does conclude with volume 6. So we're already a third of the way through the series with English releases. And then in addition to this English volume that I got, I also got the same volume, Volume 2, Dangerous Convenience Store, in French. And the reason why is because I really wanted this variant cover. So far, the 2 English covers for volumes 1 and 2 have been the same covers as the Korean release, but the French release has had variant covers, so I really wanted this one because he looked so gentle and it just was a lot more romantic than this one. And I'm really happy when I got this one in the mail. My friend acted as a proxy for me in Europe. But I was really happy that these volumes are the same size, same height and depth on the shelf. So I'll be able to store them together. But I forgot that in some countries, the text on the spine will not match. Like in English, it always is the same way. And it's gonna be like upside down or the opposite way. Usually when this happens, when I noticed this, my first thought was that I would just flip it and store it like this. But then I realized there's an illustration on it. So if it's on the shelves like this, that'll look really funny. So maybe if I store them horizontally, that would be fine. I don't know yet. But then I also noticed when flipping through that while the English volumes are mature rated, they are censored, and the French volumes are fully uncensored. So I was surprised when I flipped through it, but happy to have both of these. Oh, I also wanted to mention just about the French edition. So the English edition, the covers are just regular, but the French volumes have French flaps, which is so cool. The Korean volumes have French flaps as well. But I would have liked to have had that little extra just because it makes them seem even more deluxe, but I'm still happy that we have this series in English and that it got a print release, so adding these 2 volumes to my collection. Okay, now I'm going to go through some of my merch. It's just a couple items, and then I'm going to get into the Japanese manga. Okay, so first I have this Sanji pin that I got in the mail a few weeks ago. It's the last of 3 designs by this pin maker of Sanji that are all in this same shaped frame. I'm really happy I was able to get a hold of it. This is the only pin mail in this haul, so I'm kind of glad about that. I've been getting so many pins and I'm trying to just slow down a little and make sure I'm only getting the pins that I love. But I'm really happy to have this one now and add it to my pin collection. Next is this artboard, and this is official art from the series On or Off. I really like this character in that series, and there isn't a ton of official merch for On or Off, but most of the merch that I do know about, it's really hard to find because it has all gone out of stock, and a lot of the secondhand listings are pretty expensive, so this is the one illustration that I was wanting to keep an eye out for. I thought it would take months before I'd even find a good listing, but then I found one at a good price and was really happy to be able to pick it up. I knew that it was larger, but I was really, really surprised when it arrived, how big it was. I don't know if I can show the size comparison to like a volume of one of the bigger volumes of manga, but really excited to get this on display on my shelf. And again, just really happy that I found it. Another recent pickup was this photocard of a character from the series Shutline. Right now, the series only has a digital release in English, but it does have quite a bit of official merch for the series. But buying it overseas is expensive when you have to pay for international shipping. But I was really happy that I was able to get a hold of this one secondhand, and it was one of the cards that I wanted to get of Jake when he's dressed as a cop. He is not actually a cop, but now I have this Cop Jake photo card, and it's the first piece of Shutline in my collection. Next is a fan art print that I got, and I actually won this as a giveaway on Instagram. But this is SakuAtsu from Haikyu, and the giveaway was hosted by the moderators of a fanzine that I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be a SakuAtsu fanzine, and I've been following as they've been announcing the artists and writers for the zine. And I believe this fall is when it's going to open up for pre-orders. But a little story here on the back. And I was happy that I was chosen as one of the winners because everyone who entered the giveaway got a digital copy of it, and then there were some winners for getting a physical copy of it as well. And then I have another fan-made SakuAtsu item, and it is this doujinshi. And this one is rated mature, so I'm not going to flip through it, but I noticed when I opened it that it was numbered 12, so I'm just like, oh no, I'm going to have to look into some of their older ones and see if there are some others that I want to pick up. But the reason I got this one is because I do have one other doujinshi from this artist that I got when I was in Japan, and I do like it. So without being able to preview this one, I just kind of ordered it blind because I expected that I would probably be happy with it. And then I also got this guidebook. For Xenoblade Chronicles, Monado archives, and this is gonna go into my husband's collection as he does collect art books and guidebooks for the video game series that he likes. I was really surprised and happy that we were able to find a new copy of this because it is years old. I just checked. It was released in 2010, but there were still new copies, so I'm glad we were able to get a hold of a new copy. But there's a poster in the front. There are some color illustrations. And then character profiles. There's a lot of text as it goes into the information about weapons and the world and other characters, but very cool. My husband and I both love stuff like this. But I really liked Xenoblade Chronicles. I love the soundtrack for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, as well as 1 and 3, but 2 is my favorite. And it's one of my husband's favorite games as well, so happy that we are adding this to our art book collection or guidebook. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the Japanese manga. So this top half of the stack is all different series, and then the bottom half is several volumes from one series. So I guess I'll just go through these ones first, and then we'll finish off with these 7 volumes. So this one here on the top is I Didn't Mean to Fall in Love. This one did just get an English release recently by 7 Seas, but this is the sequel volume that just released a few weeks ago. I do hope that it will get a English release from 7 Seas as well. But the main reason that I wanted to get this volume, in addition to enjoying the first volume, and I don't know if these are going to be numbered because I think the first one is considered a one-shot and this one is considered a one-shot sequel with double at the end of it. But the reason I wanted to get this one, despite the possibility that it could get an English release soon, is because one, it came with this postcard and comic, and there was the option to order the special edition that came with this booklet. So it is pretty small. It's pretty small. But I was really hoping that this would have color illustrations inside, but I did flip through it when I unwrapped it, and it is just a bonus chapter. But it does have a unique color illustration here on the front, and on the back. So I'm glad I was able to snag this one. But I don't really know the premise of this second volume, other than this character being done with school and being out to find work, because in volume 1 he's in university and the other character is already a working adult. But I'm looking forward to reading this one and just kind of seeing where the relationship is at and what's new with them. Next, I have 2 volumes by the same mangaka, Tobi Washio, and this is a mangaka that I really like because I really like their art style. And I've just been going through and collecting all of their one-shots. I do already have, I think, 8 of their one-shots. Some of them I picked up when I was in Japan, and then some that I've ordered since I've been back. But I just got these 2 more, and with these 2, I think I'm still missing one shot or maybe 2. I'll have to double check. But this first one here is called Bros. As usual, really gorgeous characters. And this one does follow 2 stepbrothers and how their relationship changes when they encounter each other when they're each with their partners. It is a bit dubious and definitely not for everyone, but I'm trying to just collect everything by this mangaka. I did read this one in the fan translations a few months ago, but still just trying to pick up everything from their collection of works. And then this one, here's the transliterated title here in English text. But this is one that I haven't read yet. But again, I'm just trying to collect all of their series. Of course, these guys are good looking here on the cover and on the inside illustration. I forgot to show this one. Had a nice illustration too. But I don't even know the premise for this one, so I'm gonna try to go through and read this one. It didn't have fan translations up yet, so I'll just have to use my translator app to go through and try to read it myself. The next 2 volumes are both by the same mangaka, Oshima Kamome sensei. But I just read both of these last month and I really enjoyed them. And because I was about to put in an order to get the Love of Kill volume, I decided to throw these in the order as well. I don't feel like it was impulsive though, because I did really enjoy both of these. And even though they're by the same mangaka, they are both so different, such different vibes, and even the character designs are very different. So this one is a comedy that follows an idol and his bodyguard, and then this one is a very angsty romance with bits of drama throughout, as there are some different conflicts. These 2, as well as the last 3 volumes, are all rated mature, but this first one, Offstage Love Side, is so funny. I literally was laughing out loud as I was reading it. And then when it ended, I was so disappointed that it was over. But I did find out from a friend that this one did just get announced for a sequel volume that's going to be getting released soon. So I will really be looking forward to reading that next volume as well. But while I say that this is an idol and his bodyguard, it is also a re-encounter story. But I don't really want to get into the premise because it will be not spoilery for the story, but it just kind of will ruin the surprise of something really funny. So if you're looking for a really funny BL series and you're okay to read mature content, then I would definitely recommend this one, Offstage Love Side. And then this one by that same mangaka, Chicken Heart Serenade. And the color page. So what I really liked about this one is that the bits of drama and angst in this series just really made my heart squeeze because I just wanted them both to be happy. But it follows these 2 men who are, I just checked and I don't think it says in the back, but 2 men who are, I believe, in their late 20s or early 30s, who are in a casual relationship with each other and have to make some hard decisions as one of them is being pressured in the workplace to get into a relationship with someone's daughter. But I really like in this series the communication. It really is clear that they're both mature men and they know how to communicate. The story is mainly from this guy's point of view, and he's a really sweet guy, but then I love that at the end of the story, we get a glimpse into this character's point of view and his feelings throughout the story, because throughout the story, he's just very aloof and hard to read. But again, like I said, these 2 volumes were very different vibes, but I did enjoy both of them quite a bit and would recommend them. This next one is a series that I've been collecting. In Japanese, I do already have the first 2 volumes, and this is volume 3, but it's called Shoujo. But it follows these 2 who in volume 1 are newlyweds. Well, at the beginning of volume 1, they're getting married from an arranged marriage. And then the story picks up with them at their 1-year anniversary. Because of a previous trauma that she went through, they haven't done anything during their first year of marriage with any physical intimacy. But then at that 1-year mark, they're both determined to take a step forward with their intimacy. And the story is so wholesome of them just learning together. They have a very sweet relationship. And I believe I've only read a few chapters into volume 3, so I am looking forward to this new volume. I just checked and it doesn't have a color illustration inside, but this one also is rated mature, so even though it does have spicy content, it is very wholesome and just a very sweet read. And then another volume that I've been so excited about getting, this one released in December, and I forgot to order it in an earlier order. So I was really excited to throw it in with this one so I could get volume 3 of Firefly Wedding. So I already own the first 2 volumes. I love this series. I've been so obsessed with it lately. Online, the content is into volume 5 or 6 already, so I'm really excited to see what the future cover illustrations are going to look like. This one doesn't have an English physical release yet, so I have been reading it digitally on Comic-Key, but I really hope it will get an English release. Okay, I was looking for a panel to show. I don't want to show any spoilers, but this is what the art looks like. I really love the main characters. Sometimes it switches to chibi form and they're just super cute. But the series follows an assassin and a girl who was a kidnapping victim as they are on the run. The male lead is very dubious. He has yandere characteristics. He's very violent, and he was a part of the group that was responsible for her kidnapping originally. But through the series, she has to rely on him to continue to survive because of where they find themselves. But then as the story goes, we see their relationship as they start to bond a bit, and it's just so cute and also funny, very funny, but then also there are dark elements in the series because he is an assassin and they are in a place that is just lawless. But always recommending this one. It is available on Comic-Key, so definitely worth checking out if you would enjoy a dark series with some violence, but with a lot of really good comedy. And the last series that I picked up some manga for is the series Aoashi, which is about soccer. And I have quite an assortment here of volumes, so 15, 16, 18, 20, 21, and 34. So 34 is the new release, and I'm so excited to have this one. I'm really excited about the current content in the latest volumes. And then all of these are volumes that were to fill in the gaps because I've been gradually picking up this series. Initially, I was only buying the covers that I liked the most, so it was random volumes. And then when I decided I was going to collect the series in full, I had to kind of go back through, and I've been working my way through backwards, just filling in all of the gaps. So with these volumes, I should have a straight shot through from 15 to 34. And then I believe I have a couple more volumes under 15 as well. But this series is about soccer, and it follows this main guy here. The series starts with him in middle school, but then right away he gets into high school, and it follows this group of boys that have all moved from different areas to attend this soccer academy, all with the aim to become pro soccer players and play on international teams potentially. So this one, these are all white and blue spines, and this one's yellow. This is the same series, Aoashi, but it's the junior version for a younger audience. So this is a seinen series, and in the regular volumes, the text has kanji. And then in the junior version, all of the kanji has furigana next to it. So I do already have volume 22 in the regular series, but I wanted this one for the cover because this is my favorite character in the series, the head coach. And the junior series has all different covers. So I have this one now, and then I do have one other from the junior version of this character from a flashback from the backstory content of the series. And then I found 2 other cover illustrations of him in this version, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to get them or not. But this series has like almost no merch and no official art that I've seen being released like as prints or shikishis or anything. So it was worth it to pay the cost of this volume just entirely for the cover illustration. But I really love this series. It's my second favorite sports series after Haikyu. It's so well written. I highly, highly recommend the anime series, Aoashi. It has 1 season out, but the manga doesn't have an English release yet, so that's why I'm collecting it in Japanese, and I have been reading it in fan translations in the meantime until hopefully one day it will get an English release in North America. I know there has been a partial English release in Southeast Asia, but it is through a publisher over there and is not available for purchase in North America or from the retailers there to ship to North America. So I will just continue with my digital reads and collecting the Japanese volumes until hopefully a local English publisher will license this series. But these are all my pickups for my recent pre-orders, some merch that I've gotten lately, and this big order of Japanese manga magazines and a guidebook. So thank you if you stuck around to the end of the video, but really, really excited about all of these new pickups. And I'll see you again soon in another video. Thanks for watching.